Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? Guys, our week's episode of the deduction of what is real and what is fake is getting pretty intense, and I'm relatively surprised it's going this long. Just this overall recap of, what they believe happened, what actually happened, how does this ghost actually exist, and so forth. Um, it's coming down more and more to just the fact that no one knows, but everybody has an opinion, which is, of course, how the internet and how these types of sites work. As long as you have an opinion, your opinion can be as right as mine because no one actually has the true answers to these questions that they're usually asking. So it's funny to see them getting all worked up about something that you may not even be able to change at the end of the day. Uh, Not only are people, involving themselves, but we also got to hear finally the person who actually created all this mess and is helping strengthen the powers of the steel beam finally, chimes in and adds to her, her thoughts into this just to discredit and to make, matters worse for our side, which it completely does by her just reaching out and saying a little here and there. It put herself in a position to ultimately, wow, he didn't even care. Okay. To ultimately start to understand a little bit more of what's possible for, you know, just why these people are doing this and why does it even matter to them. And now she knows a good amount, right? Like she's pretty smart when it comes down to using this future ability, not to mention every time she's doing something without it, seemingly stuff is going wrong, and then all of a sudden she uses it and things are going back to the way they're supposed to be. So it's these types of things that you can honestly already tell the show has a good idea of what it wants to do with the final act. It's just I don't know what it wants to do, so we're gonna just have to wait and see. Uh, but as a whole, I think everything I've seen so far in this show has been relatively just interesting as much as I kind of don't care for this like back and forth throughout these episodes. Um, I know somewhere some people are thinking this is like the newest thing ever, using words to really fight a battle that after the words are being said, they actually have some type of uh, liability. Like they actually have some type of meaning to listen to these words, to to heed these words, because they actually bring something to the table, which is pretty cool. So we'll see how that actually ends up playing a big role throughout this show, or not this show, but throughout this little arc of the lady, because going into the sister and the father and all of this different stuff just to come to the conclusion of, yeah, this stuff may still be wrong and we don't know exactly how everything happened. But if we were a guessing person, this is what we would guess, So it's one of those moments, and either you take it or you don't. But regardless of how you feel about it, you're gonna have to either accept it or just you're one of the people that are there, like the cop says, for laughs, right? Like you're just there because this thing is popping off, and you might not believe in either side, but just because you're there, you get to add your opinion, add your presence, just by you being there and just giving it any type of attention is what the whole entire thing is there for in the first place. So uh, I think it's really clever how they're playing this, but I do also feel like this has been very long, like 4 or 5 episodes of just hypothesizing gets kind of tiresome, in my opinion. I mean, it might not for everybody, so to each their own, man. But for me, I would like. I don't know if I would recommend this show to people unless someone was like, I hate how all shows end up with someone fighting and the person stronger is the one that wins and that's it. Like, okay, well, here's this show where no one is really that strong, but because of this talking and stuff like that, that's where the true like victor all of a sudden comes from. So this is a show that I feel like a certain types of people would absolutely love, but it's just hard to say at this point who or what is actually going to end this show, good or bad. I honestly can't tell as of right now, but from what I'm seeing, I like it. I just don't think uh, it's something I would follow up in a second season if they do this type of stuff throughout the rest of the series, right? If there is anything left after this. But with that being said, just knowing that she put in this much effort and she even went against like her own rule of thumb that she was pretty much had started. She went to the case of, it really being a ghost, it really being a vengeful spirit or a spirit nonetheless, instead of just continuing her talks of how it's not a real ghost and how it's someone dressed up as it, and then she winds up uh, going back to that, like bringing anything she brought up, she relatively brought it back after leaving it and kind of going against it. So not only did she kind of play all sides of the field, she smartly put out multiple answers, which then gives her ways to bounce back. Because like I said, the person who's actually capable of seeing the futures and capable of mucking up stuff for her has actually kind of like played her card finally and shown us just what she's willing to do at the end of the day. And what she's willing to do seemingly is pretty messed up, man. Like, she straight up has to take her life every single time just to get ahead of this girl. And once she does that and gets ahead, it's like, at what at what cost? Like, how many times have you just done this in this week's episode just to stay on top? How many times have you done it just in this amount of time of us watching? Because you have to imagine every time this woman, this ghost, had been doing stuff already, she was taking her life. So it's one of these things where you kind of get a really dark understanding of how little these people care about their own lives and stuff like that, and what they're willing to do and willing to sacrifice every single chance they get just to get a ones up on their opponent. So it's these types of things that really are making the show better than I believe I thought it was. But at the same time, it's still like, just talking about something that she's fabricating over and over and fabricated it so much to the point where she's gone against her own words that she's fabricated. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm going to finish it out, but like I said, I don't know if I could see myself watching a second season if there is one, if this is how things are going to play out. Like, our main guy is absolutely getting destroyed, but we have to take every single episode as if they're only about 45, 35 minutes or something like that, unless, they actually give us a time of how much they're doing, how long they're going at this and stuff like that, which I doubt, because they already kind of summarized that by saying, we're going to take her out by tonight. Tonight is the night, so they're already stuck on, we're doing this and finishing this in one night, or the night that we started. So what does that mean for us, the viewers who are watching it for 4, 6 episodes, and it's supposedly the same night, you know? So take that as you will. Like I said, to each their own with this way of storytelling, because I don't think everybody's going to be on board for it, and I think a lot of people are already dropped the show after the last week's episode from what I was reading. Um, but regardless of that, I think there's a chance for it to still end well. I mean, sure, it might not be the best season or whatever for people, but I think there's a chance of it actually ending better than it started. Or not, it's hopefully the end could be as good as the start, because the start was good and there was nothing really to critique or to be very let down about, what the story's kind of dragging on and stuff like that. So now that we're here, it's like, okay, this was clearly what they wanted to focus on in the first place, but how is it playing out? How good is it actually? And are people going to, want to see more of this after it's done? Is what I would be worried about as a creator of this show, or not the creator, but the animator of this show. But like I said, I hope it does well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it's what you wanted it to be, like the source material is dead on and stuff like that. No hate towards this show, but I do just know that this was kind of, you know, drawn out a little bit. Like, it's going for quite a while, so it's interesting to say the least. So, God, I hate when those things blow up. But overall, though, I will definitely be talking to you guys sooner than later. So I hope you guys are having an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be when you're watching this. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you sooner than later. So with that being said, peace. Ow. Ow. I'm fighting a ninja zombie demon. Oh, yes. Hurt me more. He did it. You see, I told him to do it. So, don't think I messed up. Oh my, 700 to my back? I did the thing. Ugh, 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 ugh. I gotta grab the future. Alright, I saw the future I needed. And it was the wrong future. The wrong future! Oh, picked another future. Sorry. That's kind of how this show feels. Oh my god. Why did I pick that future? Alright. We're back in it. We back in it. And we're dead. Oh my god. GG's.